Welcome to Sat Media Soapbox Interview. I'm Matt Skeetsa, and today I'm joined by a future U.S. representative for the 5th District, Maggie. Welcome.
Hi, very nice to meet you and see you here. My name is Malgorzata McGonigal, and I am running for 5th Congressional District in the state of Illinois. Very nice to see you here.
And so the 5th District, what does that take care of? What areas?
The 5th Congressional District in the state of Illinois goes all the way from the parts of Carpentersville through Barrington, Palatine, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Niles, Park Ridge, Schiller Park, Franklin Park, Lincoln Park, all the way to Gold Coast.
Oh, that's a fairly sizable district.
It is very good size, yes.
So, actually, can I call you Maggie? Is that okay?
Yes, that's what actually everyone calls me because it's so hard to pronounce Malgorzata. Only
Yes.
Polish people probably won't have a problem.
Well, I'm Polish and I still can't do
Oh,
it.
yeah, I'm 100% Polish, so I'm a first-generation immigrant
Okay.
here.
Why are you running for the U.S. congressional seat then?
Well, I'm running for a U.S. congressional seat because when I took an oath getting my citizenship, I promised to protect our Constitution and its laws against any enemies. And to top it off, I am a mother of young children, and I am really, really upset mother right now at this point.
Yes, I can imagine, right? So, looking at the reason why many people are upset, do you see any reason why, obviously you took an oath for the Constitution, and right now we have a lot of situations where the Constitution is being violated. So, what do you look at in that area? Why are you, as a mother and as a future congressional candidate, how do you handle that?
Well, most of those mandates are illegal, and they're pushed at us completely against any laws that are in Constitution, and they're absolutely unconstitutional. Growing up in communism, I can see this black and white. There is no gray areas in it. Absolutely, everything was done to control our public and to control people, which is a complete government overreach.
So you mentioned you're from Poland. And with that, back in the 70s, Poland was under a strict Marxist regime that controlled it quite a bit. Do you notice any similarities to then and what's going on here now?
I do, and I've seen a lot of the Marxism mixed with communism, and I grew up when we were under Russian oppression. So I can see this overreach right now in our school grounds, in private businesses, and interfering even with a neighbor to a neighbor, which should actually petrify everyone. It is absolutely unacceptable what happened in the past 2 years with the lockdowns, with neighbors reporting on neighbors. What happened to America? That it was a free country. Everyone came here because it's a free country.
Right, right. So the lockdowns themselves, though, people look at it, and you have obviously a segment of the population that possibly agree with it, and then you have another segment of the population that's totally against it. But when you look at the lockdowns, what do you think they did as far as our country was concerned?
The lockdowns, in my personal opinion, were criminal and should never happen because this is not America. And like I said, America was a free country. It was a country of growing businesses, and it was a country of small businesses, which right now are under a severe attack of big and global corporations and our government.
And so we have, a lot of the small businesses failed, and I don't think there was really even a recovery. And now we're faced with another economic, I guess, I don't want to say collapse, high inflation. We have other issues within the economic system where supply is not available. And we also have now truckers that supposedly, I guess, on March 1st will be protesting the mandates. Is that do you think that's a good thing to do? What the truckers are doing or going to do?
I think it's a wonderful thing to do, and I really appreciate this is what makes America. This is what our unions are. Those truckers This is what created America, the private sector, the private jobs. No, people need to realize that this is a beautiful country and stop being against it. I just don't understand how can you be an American-born person here and you are against your flag, the jobs created here, the American people, the truckers, the oil. I mean, our resource in the United States is so big that we don't have to offshore our jobs. We can create jobs here. We don't have to import oil from Russia or Canada or anywhere else in the world. Actually, believe it or not, Africa is a good source, one of the largest source of oil to America. And I know that because my dad worked in Nigeria for a lot of years. He was an engineer at an oil rig. So in such a big and beautiful country, we can keep it all here. We should be the country exporting everything to other countries, not the other way around.
And you have now looking at the Congress itself as the House of Representatives or in the Senate, and obviously we have an issue with the executive branch of government in America, and that's another topic another time, I would imagine. But as far as Congress is concerned, what do you think can be done to get us back on track?
Well, number one, average person retires at age 65. Most of our congressmen and congresswomen in Congress are way over that age. And I don't understand why you don't want to retire and spend time with your family. Why are you running for re-election for 30, 40 years? What's your reason for that? What's there in for you? Because it's definitely not for the country and the people.
So based on that fact, which is, people just linger in Congress for, it's a decent salary, but it's not a millionaire maker. At least it has been a millionaire maker. So would you support term limits?
I would absolutely support term limits. I would absolutely support that. I'm all for a term limits, and I know that Congress right now does not have any term limits.
Correct.
To me, this whole structure is like a little Jenga, and this is what's happening right now. We got to start with the bottom of it, pulling the pieces out from our local governments and the state governments and the state officials, local officials. And once we remove all those people that have been sitting on those seats longer than a decade and have done really nothing, then the whole system basically is going to collapse. Because when you get a bottom pieces from a Jenga, the top is going to go down. And we just got to start it over again. I mean, we just got to bring the America that everyone dreams of coming into it, that I've dreamed of coming into it back in the 80s, back in 70s.
Right. So let's switch up a little bit. So you came from Poland, and right now, if you look at the U.S. foreign policy, there's been a lot of dialogue about Russia and Ukraine. And the end result is you have a lot of U.S. troops now moving into Poland and Eastern Germany, which were there for years, but I think the buildup mostly is in Poland. As a congressional candidate and as someone who could be in Congress, what do you think of those type of moves?
Well, I was actually just there, and I've seen it firsthand. And being there 2 weeks ago, I've never seen so many generals from different countries and what is going on with Russia and Ukraine. It's always been a problem, and it's going to create a huge global issue if they're going to go for it. Again, this is my personal opinion. This is what I've seen for years. But Poland was always a doormat. This has been going on the Ukrainian border for the past 19 months, or maybe right now at 21 months. So this just didn't happen last month, 2 months. It's just our media that doesn't report it at all because they don't want to create an issue, or they're just pick and choose what they're reporting, to fit their narratives. But it is a serious issue, and I think that the fact that Obama took out the NATO that we supposed to build in Poland was the biggest mistake, because we are a central between Russia and most of Europe. And going back in the history, we were always a doormat for everyone. But if we would have American NATO station with one of the largest nuclear weapons in there and access to it, that would be probably the best thing for United States to happen. And then we wouldn't have a problem with Russia and Ukraine because they wouldn't even want to touch them because they knew that nuclear base is so close to them. They don't want to mess around with it. But right now, I personally think that we have a pretty weak army compared to what we used to have and what we were trying to build it up overseas. So it is probably very strange coming from someone that came from a different country. But I think that we should build up our army. We should build up our resources in our force and stop that madness between Russia, China, Ukraine, and everybody else.
Right. And oddly enough, with that area, the two countries that seem to be downplaying everything, saying it's not what you're saying it is Russia and Ukraine. So when you look at how the United States is representing itself, it's kind of a head scratcher, really.
It is in Ukraine, and I'm telling you this from what I've seen being there, being very close to a border. A lot of people, it's already been evacuated from Ukraine, so it is really bad. It's actually worse there than what we see on TV here, and that should I would highly recommend for everyone to dig into it and try different overseas small news media sources to see what really is going on right now, because we get maybe a 3% of information here, what's really going on there, and it's not good.
All right. So let's roll it back a little bit and take a look again is it the 5th district, correct?
Correct, yes.
So when you look at the 5th district, what's the economy of the 5th district like right now? Is it solid? Is there industry? Are there plenty of jobs? What's it like?
Well, that's actually a good question, because I actually have O'Hare Airport in the 5th district.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the district that has been redesigned recently is very interesting because it has 67% of a white population and with a very good medium incomes. I don't know why it was created like this. I have no idea how the towns are chopped down right in the middle of the neighborhoods, which is very interesting too. But it unfortunately at this time it's not my job to redistrict anything, and I just had to go with what I gave it to you.
There's nothing you do. The gerrymandering is, it's been happening for a century. So
correct, but it is a Cook County. It's mostly a Cook County, and we all know with the vaccination cards, the businesses are struggling. They're struggling really bad. They're losing anywhere from 60% of a business right now. I've checked with a few business in the city and the Gold Coast. It's not what it was before. Michigan Avenue is not what it was before. I've never seen anything like that happening in this country ever in my life. I only been here for 23 years. But I spent a lot of time on Michigan Avenue and on Gold Coast. It was always our thing every year to go with the kids, to go shopping, to do something that goes to a Christkindl. And it's so dangerous right now. There is no one on the streets. We have security guys in front of the stores. What is going on? That shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, not only security people, but you have crime that has increased, shoplifting and a lot of these smash and grab type crimes that take place, and then you have a downtown. The prosecuting attorneys don't prosecute.
I was a victim of a theft in a city. My car was stolen from a valet indoor parking lot. We had a footage on a video camera of the guys that stole my car from the valet parking lot. And we had everything on them. I called, and you know what they told me when they retrieved my car? Well, you're lucky it's not burned out. I'm like, you're not going to press any charges against them? He's like, no, we have better things to do than that. That was my answer.
Wow. That's stunning. Yeah. So, and that came from the police, or did that come from actually a prosecutor? Or
That actually came from a prosecutor. It's like they're not even gonna do anything about it. It didn't even go that far. It started with the police that I had to retrieve my car on my own because they're not really gonna look for it and I know the police is overwhelming the city and they definitely have other things that I need to fight. As of Sunday, one of the people that I've known personally got shot on Michigan Avenue. And his car was stolen, and he was left on the sidewalk.
well, God, that's terrible. Crime is crime is crime. I don't know where people start making exceptions, but obviously that's another issue with, especially the closer you get to downtown.
That's a huge issue right now. That's a very huge issue, and we gotta stop that crime. We gotta start concentrating on educating these people, but not training them. But we definitely need to find ways to get rid of crime and support our police force there, because I personally do not wish anyone to have anyone in the Chicago police right now. Every day they go to work, they don't even know they're going to come home. And these are people that have family, they have children, and they don't have a guarantee. So I feel like right now we're promoting thieves. We're promoting robberies, and we're putting it down people that actually go to work and work for a living and support everything with their taxes.
Yes, very much so. So, if you, in a perfect world, I don't want to say it's a perfect world, but when you look at the 5th District, and if you had 2 or 3 things that you said, these are things that I will change, what would that be?
Well, number one would be we got to redesign our public school system, give it back power to the parents, keep our government out of our medical decisions. It's not their business what medical decisions we take as a people. They should completely stay out of it. We need to increase our police force. We need to start getting people that are prosecutors that are actually going to follow the Constitution and its law and prosecute people for the crimes they make. It feels like in a perfect world, it's all unicorns and rainbows, but it feels like everything is unicorn and rainbows for everyone who breaks the law.
Right, right. And oddly enough, if you want to consider it, unicorns and rainbows, if you follow the Constitution, it really does become unicorns and rainbows.
That's exactly correct, yes. When the hardworking people are rewarded and the ones that break the law are punished.
Right. So what else? Is there something else that you would like to do within that 5th District that would elevate it or focus on improving something?
Well, it's since I have big parts of the city of Chicago, and we all know that state of Illinois is very corrupt and it's criminal when it comes to taxing people. I would strongly consider a flat tax. There is no more fair way than having a flat tax, because I know people are going to disagree, but I spend a lot of time in finance and statistics, and if you make $10,000 and there's 15% of a tax, you're going to pay $150 and contribute $150 to society. If you make $1 million, 15% is still going to be a 15%. So you got to automatically contribute more to society and to everything else. The more you make, the more you're going to contribute. So when we get rid of all those loopholes, as we know there's plenty of them, and we start lowering our taxes, we're going to start improving our lives. We got to start we got to look into Social Security. There shouldn't be a tax on Social Security at all. There was already a tax, so we double taxing our taxes. And it's not even, people say, it's all about fiscal responsibility. We can't continue spendings. We got to cut our spendings. You can't get a credit card, max it out, and go to the bank and ask for another one until you pay it off. So this is what we got to start doing with our government and our state and a 5th District. There's so much money that it's being wasted. And why?
Well, when you look at the state of Illinois, obviously there's a huge pink elephant in the room, which is the unfunded pensions. And then you look at the federal government, which hasn't been, actually might even be worse, where you have Social Security sitting there, which is supposed to be people's retirement. They keep paying into it every year, and it's a slush fund. So what do you do to counteract that?
Well, the good thing you mentioned pensions too. Most of people that have a pensions, they only get a margin of their pension back. The pensions should not be, the money paid into a pensions should not be used for any political gain. And now we pay more to lobbyists than we pay to the people that actually paid into that. Same thing happened with the Social Security, and that was Bill Clinton that rewrote that. The Clintons put that bill in place that Social Security is going to be in a marketplace. So they use that money to make money, which it was absolutely against the Constitution also. And it should never be done like this. The money, at this point, what's the point of paying into Social Security when you can find your private investment company and just pay them that money instead of paying to a government that is going to completely redistribute in the wrong way?
Right. Yeah, there's been, same as Illinois, there's been a spending problem.
Correct.
With both federal and this state in particular as well.
Well, I don't understand that people are okay with misspending and misbudgeting the money that they pay out of their hard-earned money. But imagine that if you put $10,000 in a private investor and you want your private investor to grow your money for your retirement or for vacation, for whatever you want, and then out of 10,000 he gives you back 8,000 and says, "Oops," you would be really upset with it. But people are okay paying to a government and then getting part of it that they were supposed to get, and they're okay with this.
Right.
That has to end. There has to be a fiscal responsibility in place. Exactly. Stop the unnecessary spending. Stop the lobbying. Stop the growing government. Stop putting politics into everything. That should not happen anymore.
So as you sit in Washington in the hopefully near future, what would you give advice to your fellow congressional House members as far as a lot of the mandates and quarantine and, well, there's really been no quarantine, but the lockdowns that took place based on the federal government's issuing?
Well, the mandates are absolutely against the Constitution, number one. Even if it due to a state of emergency, the governor only has 30 days to place a state of emergency, not a mandate, but a state of emergency into place. So I compare the mandate to a private business. If I put on a door, I only like people with blonde hair walking in. As a private business, I can do that and I can place anything I want. And also, I want to tell the people that mandates that are placed by our government are only enforceable if the private business enforce them. Otherwise, they mean nothing because Governor Pritzker said so. That doesn't mean that me as a business owner has to put this in place. I don't have to. But when I put this in place, then I got to follow the rules. Right. Because I personally placed this. So it's very confusing for a lot of people. And it took me a lot of time, too, to actually figure that out how exactly it works. And that should never happen. This is a free country. And it's about all we, the people. This is not about our democracy. This is a republic. So we got to go back to basics. We got to take everything back, and I strongly would recommend to have our Constitution and a Bill of Rights as a mandatory books for first graders.
Very good. So when you, again, look at the 5th District, you obviously the current representative there is a Democrat, I would imagine.
Yes.
And when you look at things that they have or haven't done, maybe, do you have any criticism of what they're doing right now?
Well, I can't really criticize because I'm running against Mike Quigley, and I was not in his district. It just was redistrict, so he is right in my district. I looked into him. He's been since 2009. And I'm guessing he got the seat when Rahm Emanuel went and worked for President Obama.
I see.
He took that position. So I don't know how exactly he got into that position because I highly doubt he was elected to it. I think he was placed into it. And then he just becomes reelected and reelected and reelected, and everything in the state of Illinois, it's magically reelects everything.
Right, right. So roughly speaking then, there hasn't been anything really done significantly over the past, since 2009, that really would say this man's doing his job.
No, and nothing. And I looked at his previous district, and then demographically, it switched drastically. And if you look at Mike Quigley's previous district and look at demographics right now and prior, the neighborhoods are burning in flames.
Yeah, literally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
the ones that he's in it right now,
Right.
but the ones that he ran before. They're literally are
Previously.
burning in the flames.
Right. I appreciate you taking time today to speak with us here at SAT Media. It's truly been a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck in the 5th District and in with your congressional seat.
Well, thank you very much. You know, we all talking, Republicans are all talking about winning, but nobody is running. How can we win if we don't even give a chance ourselves to go and run and
Right.
go out there and start talking to people and explaining it, what is going on? It's just such a beautiful country. I always said, you know what, when every country lifts their borders, everyone runs away. When the United States lift their borders, everyone runs in. And we all should ask ourselves the question, why is that happening? Because it is a beautiful country.
Right, it is. So I think Thomas Jefferson would be very happy with your statement.
Well,
so,
thank you.
Again, Maggie, thank
Pleasure.
you very much.
Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. It was very nice to meet you. Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you. Take care.